All right, you guys ready? Raise your hand if you're ready. Oh, thank you guys. That helps. Hey, what's up, Carl? What's up? Hey, how's it going? We're gonna go ahead and open up Detailer. We're gonna do a new file. We're gonna go File, Import. You're gonna go to Frame Types, Machine Setups, Steel Setups. You're gonna find your little setup file that you just downloaded from Canvas, and you're gonna go ahead and open it up by importing it. So go ahead and do that. I want to make sure you guys do that correctly. File, Import, Import Setups. Find your setup file, click it, open it. That's the file you need to import. Correct. Yes. File, import, frame types, machine setups, steel setups. Click that button. Navigate to where you saved that setup file that you downloaded from Canvas. Click on it and click on open. And then we'll move to the next step. For some reason, it what? Okay. We're importing settings. It's not a project or anything, it's just settings. So Albert can help you. Hey Albert, can you help June out real quick? She's getting a little lost for the first step. Thank you. So yeah, when you are in a software, you import settings. It's not a project that you're importing. It's just settings that you're importing. So don't expect to see a cash wrap in front of you. You're just gonna have my settings now. While we wait, if you guys want to check out and see what you just imported, navigate to Edit and then Machine Setups. Edit and Machine Setups. How many machine setups do you guys see in your dialog box? You see two? How about you, Colton? Two? Amy? You see two? I want you guys to select the one that says demo and delete it. Say that again? Yeah. Right where it says machine setups, just below it, you should see F325IT Orange Coast College. And it sounds like you guys also see demo, right? Is there a demo one? It's what? Okay. What does it say? Okay. Let's Okay, that's good. All right, and then do you guys see right here in the middle? Do you see two different sections? This is one and this is another one. Do you see that? These two here? Do you see that, Amy? How you doing, June? All right. So the thing that we just imported are just settings for our specific machine. We have the F325IT. If you navigate to, hey June, make sure you go to Edit and Machine Setups. Go to Edit, Machine Setups. You guys should see my machine setup, F325IT with my name in parentheses, or my nickname. And then in the middle, you should also see two different section setups. And if you click on either one, you'll notice that on the far right, the shape of the section is a different shape, depending on which one you're clicking. Basically, what we have here is this is our C-shaped stud. So this C-shaped stud has very specific dimensions. Currently, it's showing it in terms of inches and in hundredths. So on the lip, you have a half-inch lip. On the left side, you have a 1.7-inch high flange. We have a 3625 web, and then a 1625 flange on the right with a half-inch lip again. Does everybody see that? That is a section cut through our actual section. If I click on the second section in the middle, just down below, on the right side, this is called a U-shaped track. So notice there's no lips, and instead of lips, we have taller flanges. On the left side, we have 2.01-inch flange. On the bottom, we still have a 3625 web, and then on the right side, we have a 2.08-inch flange on the right. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So, if you navigate to Tools, everybody navigate to Tools. You guys are all going to have the same list of tools under Fitted Tools. These are all the tools that are loaded up on our machine. So we can do a dimple, a lip notch, swage, web notch, a bolt hole, a flange chamfer, flange hole, left flange notch, long service hole, and right flange notch. And then on the right side, these are all of our available tools. These are all the different types of tools that we could have on our machine, but because they're on this column, we don't have it on our machine. So there's no need to load it into the left column where it says Fitted Tools. Fitted Tools is just what we have. All right, moving on. All of our tool lengths are already determined in the setup file. Our general settings, our clearances, and our boxing is already set up. So all you guys had to do was import these settings, and I gave it to you. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. On the left side, I have my project tree. As our project grows, it'll occupy this space. I have a plan right here. I'm going to right-click, click on Properties. I'm going to change this project name to Cash Wrap. Client name to Sibley Sabori. Job number, you can make up whatever job number you want. You weren't able to right click the word new? No? Do you have some dialog box still open that you need to close? Yes, yes you do. Yeah, you can only occupy one window at a time, you guys. I did not say file. The word new, you're going to right click it. You go to properties. So now in your project tree, it should say cash route. Next thing I want to do is click on this button just above the word cash wrap. It looks like a small little roof plan. It is the add project button or add new plan button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one to add a brand new floor plan. I'm going to right click that one, go to properties. Instead of new, we'll call it plan. So here under the plan properties, I can decide what my elevation is in plan. Am I starting on the ground? Am I starting at 0? Am I starting a little bit higher? Right? If I was doing a multi-story building, is my elevation starting at 0, or is it starting at 8 feet, or is it starting at 16 feet? So that's where I can change it right here under elevation. And then I've also got a material summary, which right now I don't have any FrameCAD yet, so I don't really have any materials listed here. Everything says 0. I'm going to click OK. There's a drop-down menu just to the right of the project tree. If you click on that drop-down menu, you'll see a bunch of different items. These are called frame types. So we have a ceiling panel, external wall, a floor panel, internal wall, joists, miscellaneous, roof panel, and trusses. So these are all the different types of panels that we can use. Walls are typically vertical assemblies. They run relatively up and down, whereas ceiling panels and joists and roof panels are more horizontal or maybe even sloped. We have trusses which are also up and down but typically hold load of our roof system above. So I'm going to click on external wall. And then right next to external wall is place frame. It's a little icon called place frame. When you hover your cursor over any of these icons, you'll get a little tooltip that gives you its name. So we're going to do place frame. Here's my command line down at the bottom. Right? What does your command line say when you hit place frame? Frame? What does it say above that? Start coordinate. Okay. So just like in Rhino, when we initiate a command, it will communicate back to us, telling us how to achieve that command. So in order to place a frame, I need to tell it where the start coordinate is. If you just click anywhere in this model space, once you make your first click, it'll ask you for your end coordinate. So now I can click anywhere else. Here's my second click. And then it'll ask you select side to grip the stick. Okay, which all that means is do you want it to fall this way or that way or right in the center? Okay, I drew a line. It wants to know if I want it on this side of the line, the other side of the line, or centered on that line. Okay, you can choose either option by moving your cursor up and down. You'll see all three options. Once you select an option you like, you can just go ahead and click. And now you've made your first wall. You guys all have your first wall? Yes, yes, yes. All right, so that's your first wall. We have one wall in Detailer. So what do we do with this? The next step is you're going to hit escape 2 times. In between commands, you always want to hit escape just a few times. The first time you hit escape means you're ending the command. The second time you hit escape, you're deselecting anything that might be selected, and thus you have a fresh new start. After hitting escape a few times, you're going to select EX1, you're going to right click it, you're going to go to properties, you go to main, and here under main, you'll see all of your different settings for that specific wall. I can change the height, I can affect the pitch, I can affect the stud spacing, I can choose whether or not to use a nog, I can choose my nog heights, I can decide what type of nog to use, either continuous or staggered, inline. I can add service holes, both horizontally or vertically. I can add bolt plate holes. Okay. Once you configure all this, you click on Build. Okay. I didn't change any of those settings. You click on Build, and then you'll see a wall. This is an elevation of that wall. Okay. So we're looking at it straight on from the front. Based on those settings that we chose, we have an 8-foot tall wall. Mine is spaced 2 feet on center. So every 2 feet I have a stud. I have my service holes running horizontally. Based on my settings, I have some service holes running vertically. That's what all these dashed lines mean. Down at the bottom plate, where it says BP1, I've also got some bolt plate holes or bottom plate holes that will allow me to anchor this bottom plate down to the foundation if erecting a building. So now I'm going to zoom into this portion over here on the right side. Now I want to go over what all these different colors mean. What do you guys think the red color means? Red means top. Uh, Good guess. Yeah. What about you, Amy? What's that? Sorry, say it again. Good guess. What about you, Golden? What do you think? For the red line? Okay, so the red line means that this horizontal piece that runs left and right horizontally, this red area here is a big hole that will allow this stick, which runs vertically, to traverse through it. Right? That's how they connect. To get this piece to go all the way through this piece, there must be a hole. That's what this red line represents. This is a hole that's in the, this is called the web of the stud. This whole horizontal piece is called a noggin. All the vertical ones are sticks. The top one is your top plate, the bottom one is your bottom plate, and then the horizontal ones are noggins. So in order to get this vertical piece to protrude through here and connect the bottom and the top plates, there must be a hole. So the red line represents a hole. It's running this way, left to right, meaning that the hole is here in this noggin piece. Anyone want to guess what the green one means? Amy, you guess. I'm making you guess. You guys are the quietest students I've ever had. And you love to sit so far from each other. What's the green line mean? The end of what? Of the what? Okay. All right. What do you think, Golden? Say it again. Okay. What about you, Edith? What's that? Yes. A hole? Okay. So, based off of that drawing that we saw earlier of each of these profiles, we know that, let's see, 37, no. Let's go to, I'm going to close this. Let's go to edit, machine setups. All right. So this is our stud. It's got two lips, it's got two sides or two flanges, and it's got this bottom piece. Right. When we saw that red line, what it was a hole in this bottom piece. Now that green line is not a hole here because there's actually no metal there. What it is there's no lips in that area. The lips get cut off so that way those sticks can intersect in that area. So if I zoom back in, so in this general vicinity where this green line is, the lip of this noggin is being trimmed off. Okay, because the lip is going to block the stick from entering into that void before it even gets to the red portion, right? Before it gets to this part. So there are lips down here, and it has to be able to pass through the top of the stud and then through the bottom of the stud. So that's called a lip cut. Red one is called a uh, web notch. The whole entire horizontal piece is called a noggin. This thing that I have highlighted right now, this thing that's labeled as NG1, that whole piece is called the noggin. The red line is web notch, the green line is lip cut. Red line is web notch. The green line is lip cut. Web notch, lip cut. Notch web, cut lip. And then we have these purple lines. These purple lines, which are running up and down, have something to do with this stick. The one that's running up and down. What could that be? Albert? What's the purple lines? The purple lines represent a swage. That is correct, Albert. Thank you. Okay. What a swage is it's squeezing that vertical piece. Oh, we just got a bunch of visitors today. All right. So the vertical one is getting squeezed to make it smaller, give it a skinnier figure, hourglass type of shape. It gets squeezed right here. So that way this vertical stick can pass through this area where there are no lips, and it can also pass through that area where there's no web. Can you go ahead and grab that door, Fred? Somebody? Yeah, he works here. He can be trusted. Hello. How's it going? Okay. So that takes care of all three of those colors. Lip cut, web notch, swage. What are these three circles? What do you think, Edith? What are those three circles? First screw? That's correct. So that's called a dimple. Okay? Dimple. So what happens is the machine will actually pre-drill these holes and it'll dimple it or countersink it. So this vertical one gets a dimple and this horizontal one gets a dimple. Both of them receive a dimple. Because they both get that dimple, both of them actually are countersunk. When you shove this vertical piece through this horizontal piece, they actually click into place because they're center finding each other. All right, this dashed line over here on the right side, this dashed line is running through this noggin, and then it's got a yellow hole. What could this yellow line represent? Amy? What part of this yellow line is it onto the stud? Is it on the lip of the stud? Is it on the web of the stud? Is it on the flange of the stud? How do I know which way the stud is facing? This noggin. Which way is it oriented? You want to take a guess as to which way it's oriented? Is the open face facing down, or is the open face facing up? Down? Why do you say down? I know it is facing down because on the left side there's a picture of it. This is the way it's facing. Right? If I look at the bottom of these sticks here, there's a picture of it showing me which way it's facing. So I know that this piece has got the open face facing downwards. So what could this yellow line represent? What do you think, Holden? What? It represents the top? Okay. I don't know what you said, but just like this red one, right? This yellow one represents a hole, another hole inside of this noggin, right? Looking at this picture, this part, which is called the web, let me write that on here. Size of 10. Oops. Size 10. Put it right here. This is the web. All right. So this flat piece of the stud is called the web. This one down here is called lips. Flange. Okay. So we have the web of the stud, the flange of the stud is on the left and right side, and the lips are these two little things right here. Okay, so we covered lip cut, which means that when a vertical piece enters this horizontal piece, the lips have to get chopped off. And we covered a web notch, which is when there's a hole in the web of the stud. So this yellow one is also a hole in that stud. This is called a service hole. Okay. So it's a big hole that runs through the web of each of these studs wherever this dashed line passes through any of the metal. And that allows us to have our water lines or electrical, one of the two, can run through the wall assembly itself. All right. I think that's about it for that wall. So I'm going to close this window. Once you close that window, you're going to be taken right back to this plan view. Okay. To go back to that elevation, you can just simply double click on EX1 and it'll take you to this elevation, or you can right click and go to elevation view. Okay. What happens in Detailer is you have a plan view and you have an elevation view. Okay, these are two separate things. If you're in the elevation view, you cannot affect anything in the plan view until you're done with this window and you can close it. So this is just a secondary window, which means I can close this window and Detailer is still open. This project is still open. And I've got my wall sitting right here. So now that we have some of the basics, I'm going to go back to Rhino. I'm going to look at my dimensions of my file. Let's go to 1:1 and turn off this 2D stuff, building stuff, make 2D stuff. So here's our final design. I'm not concerned with any of the plywood or the caster wheels at this moment. So I'm going to turn those layers off. Caster wheel off, plywood off, sign off, and I'm just worried about the FrameCAD for now. So if I were to consider all of these pieces of steel as assemblies or frame types, I would have to say that I've got 1, 2, 3 walls. This is one wall, this is another wall, and this piece here is another wall. And then down below, I've got a couple pieces here. These are, I would consider, floor panels. So walls being up and down things, floor panels being horizontal things. So if I take some dimensions off of this design using the distance command in Rhino, I know that the width of this wall is 2 feet, and the height, overall height of it, is 2 foot 7 3/4 of an inch. Okay, it's that odd number because I had already figured out the height of my caster wheels, the thickness of my top, and with all those combined, I want a 3 foot top, right? I want the top of this cash wrap to be a 3 foot. So 2 foot 7 3/4 is the height of this wall. Actually, each of these 3 walls. So I'm going to go back to Detailer. I'll start off by drawing some lines. So you can click on this command right here, draw a line. And for your start coordinate, you're going to type in 0 and hit enter, or not, 0, 0. So 0, 0 is my start coordinate. Okay, right now I'm looking at everything in plan view because I'm in a plan, right? I even named it plan. So if I'm just concerned with the left side, I'm going to draw a 24-inch or 2 foot long line. Okay, then I'm going to navigate towards the right, and that distance should be 5 foot 4 3/4. Let's double check that. 5 foot 4 3/4. So I've just gone 2 feet this way. 5 foot 4 3/4. So while my cursor is hovering towards the right, as I continue my line, I'm going to type in 5 apostrophe 4 dash 3 / 4 quotation mark. Okay. And then again, I'll type in 24 inches or 2 feet. All right. Then I'll end the command by hitting enter. I'll hit escape 2 times to make sure I'm not selecting anything. And then from here, I can use the external wall frame type. I'm going to place frame. My start coordinate is going to be this point here. By this time, you should start using your snaps, right? Just like in Rhino, we have object snaps and grid snaps. We can enable those here in Detailer as well. So that way, when we draw lines like these, we can snap to their endpoints, we can snap to their midpoints. So I'm going to make sure that up here, I can toggle on snap end, I can toggle on snap intersection, and then I can toggle on either snap middle or snap near. So I just have end, intersection, and near on right now, which will allow me to snap to this endpoint of this line that I drew as the start coordinate for my frame. You'll see a little red square indicating that you're snapping to that endpoint. I'm going to click it once, zoom out, find the other endpoint. I'm going to click on that. Okay. Now I need to choose what side to grip the stick, which just means along that line that I just drew, do I want this wall centered on that line? Do I want it on the right side of that line? Or do I want it on the left side of that line? I'm going to hover my cursor towards the left to put it on the left side of this line, and then I'll click. Right? I'm going to do the same thing with the wall on the right. I'm still in the command. I can see here my command line. It still says start coordinate, which means that the command has not ended, although I've created one panel. Detailer is ready for me to create another panel. So I'm going to click on this endpoint, click on that endpoint, hover to the right, And I'm going to click there. Okay, I've just made 2 panels. And then the command line, it still says start coordinate, so it wants me to keep going. I've got 1 more panel to make. This time I'm going to snap to this endpoint here, which is the top right corner of EX1. And then I'm going to snap to the top left corner of EX2. And I'm going to have it come downwards to fit within the space. And I'll click once. All right. I'm done making these external walls now, so I'm going to hit escape a couple of times. Now my command line doesn't say anything except for command. So now I've made 3 walls. Now what I'll do is I'll select each one of these walls. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to make sure everything looks good. Machine setup, general. Okay, so now what I want to do is going to select just EX1. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to go to properties. And the height, I need to change it to, from here to here, 2'7 3/4. Okay, the way it displays it here in Rhino is exactly the same way you're going to type it out here in Detailer. So height, instead of 8 feet, I'm going to say 2 apostrophe 7 dash 3 / 4 quotation mark. That's 2'7 3/4 inch. My stud spacing is at 2 feet. I've got use nog checked, service hole checked. I'm going to click on build. I'm going to maximize this window. And there it is. That is my sidewall. Okay. That is this one right here. Okay, now the way I detailed it here in Rhino, I put a horizontal piece and I took out the vertical piece. Okay, so back in Detailer, if I wanted to do that, I can come over here, select ST2, I'll delete it, and I'll come over here. There is a little drop-down menu. I want to make sure I choose the correct profile. I have a C-shaped stud and a U-shaped stud. So these ones here are called C or even S-shaped studs, but the ones without lips are called U-shaped studs, right? That was the second profile we had seen in our machine setups. So I'm going to click on 362.162.33 50 KSI, 362S 170 33 SS50 G60. That's the one I want to click. And then I'm going to click this one right here, place stud section. I can snap to my middle point by toggling on snap middle. Then I can find the midpoint of TP1. You'll see a little triangle, a little red triangle appear. You can click on that. And then you're going to come all the way down to BP1. You'll find another red triangle at its midpoint. And you'll click right there. Now we're creating stud number 2 again. And just like last time, I can have this fall on the left side or right side or midpoint. Oh, actually, I want it to be horizontal. Let's hit escape a couple times. Let's try that again. Place stud. We'll go from this midpoint on the left side to this midpoint on the right side. And I'll have it centered. And then just like that, it'll place it in there. It's going to place ST number 2 in there. It's going to insert a lip cut on ST1. It's going to swage this left side of ST2, and it's going to put dimples right where ST2 and ST1 are. So all these joints are automated here in the software. Okay. All that all that needs to happen is they need to intersect with one another. That's it. Let's move this label out of the way a little bit. So now this pretty much looks the same as this one. These service holes you can delete if you'd like. You can move them using the move command. You can place them somewhere else if you think you'll need them for your design. We're not going to need any, so I'm going to delete them. Delete that and delete that. Okay. So now I have a wall that is 2'7 3/4 of an inch tall, starting at 0, going all the way to 2'7 3/4. It's got a top plate, an ST2, which is a horizontal plate, and a BP1. Now, typically, this would actually be considered a noggin. I can change its classification by right-clicking it, and for usage, I can call it a nog. Its naming scheme will change from ST2 to NG. So let's click OK. And now it is renamed as NG1, so noggin. So when we go to print these things, every single stick has its own unique name. Okay. And it being called NG1 will signify to all of us that it is a horizontal piece. ST or sticks are vertical. Top plate, bottom plate, and noggins are horizontal. So all of these are going to be clues for us. All right, that is EX1. I can go ahead and close that secondary window. And now here in my project tree, you can see a little plus sign where it says plan. You can click on that plus sign to expand your list of panels. Right, EX1, EX2, and EX3 all live in this plan view. Okay. Notice there's a little icon next to EX1, and then the icon next to EX2 and EX3 is different, which means that EX1 has been built, but EX2 and EX3 have not yet. So now let's go ahead and build EX3. I'm going to select EX3 by left-clicking it. I'm going to right-click it, go to Properties. I'm going to go to Main. I'm going to change the height from 8 feet to 2 foot, 2 apostrophe, 7 dash 3/4 quotation mark 2'7 3/4 of an inch. I can turn off service holes. So if I uncheck service holes here, I won't get any service holes, which means I won't have to delete them later. Then let's click on build. And there we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 sticks or studs. We got a top plate and a bottom plate. So in this design, I had added a noggin. So I can go ahead and add another noggin if I wanted to. I'm not sure that I actually will, but in the real project. But I'm going to make sure to choose the correct section profile. So the S shape, not the U shape. And the icon next to it is Place Stud Section. I'm going to make sure that I have Snap Middle on. I'm going to find the middle of ST1, and then I'll find the middle of ST4, and then I'll center this stud, and Detailer will already figure out how to join all of these pieces to one another. It's giving me web notches, it's giving me lip cuts, it's giving me dimples, it's giving me swaging. All that is being predetermined by the software. Everything gets its own label. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Just like I did with the last one, I'm going to change the category type of ST2 by right-clicking it, going to usage, and changing it to noggin. I'll click OK. and now it's getting relabeled as NG1. So we have top plate, bottom plate, noggin, 1, 2, 3, 4 sticks. So looking at this elevation, I can see that where it automatically placed ST2 and ST3, it's 2 feet away. It's 2 foot increments from the left. So it's got 0, 2 feet away, there's another stick, 2 feet away is another stick, and then you have your last stick. So we can leave it like that, or we can distribute these a little bit more evenly. Okay. So if I go back to my Rhino model, I had already figured that out here. So if I type in distance and snap to this end point and this midpoint, I can see that that's 1 foot 9, 7/8 of an inch. So if I go back here, you do a little bit of math to move it, 1 foot 9, 7/8 of an inch, or I can grab ST1, type in copy, base point, I'll just click anywhere down below here, and displacement point or enter. I'm going to hover my cursor to the right. I'm going to type in 1 foot 9-7/8 inches and hit enter. I'm going to delete this one here. I'll delete this one here. I'm going to select ST2 and I want the dimension location to be on the center. So now it's on the center. So instead of 1 foot 9, 7/8, this is 1 foot 10, 23, 30 seconds. So I'm going to move it so it's 1 foot 9 7/8. So this is in 30 seconds. This is 4, 28, 30 seconds. So I'm going to move this forward 5/30 seconds of an inch. And then I'm going to move it back the other way 1 inch. Now it's at 1 foot 9 7/8. And then the distance from this one to this one is 1 foot 9. So I'll grab this one, copy it from this base point to the right, 1 foot 9. Hit escape a couple times. And now I've got 4 studs pretty much evenly spaced. I can close that window. Now all that's left is to figure out EX2. Okay, so I'm going to select EX2. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to go to Properties. For this one, I'm going to select this option here under the General tab, right where it says Cloned To. I'm going to check Cloned To. And here in this dialog box, I can select any frame as a template. So I can choose EX1, click OK, and then click OK. So what happened? So what I did was it said EX2, I want it to be a direct clone of EX1. I already did the work once. There's no need to make all those edits again. And anything I do to EX1 will affect EX2. Right? EX2 is just a direct copy of EX1. So whatever I do to EX1, EX2 will come out the same exact way. Okay. So with that, this thing is pretty much ready to be printed out with the machine. Before I print it out, I can create a 3D export. So let's first save this file. Go to File, Save As. And I'm going to make sure I save it somewhere where I can find it again later. I'll go ahead and put it under OCC 2025, Summer 2025, ARC 8201, Assignments. Let's give it a good name. Cash wrap. Put my initials on it. The file type that it saves it as is a FCP or FrameCAD project. That is Detailer's file type, FrameCAD project, FCP. And I hit save. And then I'm going to go File, Export. We're going to export it as a 3D VRML. Okay. It says to select a VRML output directory. I'm going to navigate to my folder again. My drive, OCC 2025, December 2025, ARC 8201, assignments. Okay. Select all, export. Okay. That's that. Nothing will happen. And the last step is going to be File, View 3D. Okay. Now I need to find that 3D file. Here it is under Assignments, Cache Wrap. And here's my 3D preview. This is in a software called SAP Visual Enterpriser. I hate it. It sucks. But that's my only choice. The best way to get around this to not have this happen to you is go to the far right. You'll see a new menu appear. Click on this little drop-down menu and select Turn. So instead of Orbit, we're going to Turn. And this allows us just to spin the model around as if it was on a Lazy Susan versus having us spin it around like it's in a tornado. I can zoom in. I can check out my progress. Okay. Don't forget, all of this is actually floating up a couple inches to account for the height of the caster wheels. So if I wanted to, I can close this window. I can right-click on Plan, go to Properties, Elevation. I can actually elevate it, whatever height I figured out the caster wheels are. So if I wanted to say 3 inches, okay, now these are all floating 3 inches up higher. If I go to EX1, they should all be floating up a little bit higher. Well, I'm not seeing it doing it, but. And then the last piece is a floor panel, right? So the floor panel is going to allow us to attach our cubby system. We're going to do a plywood box that sits directly on top of this thing, keeping it from sagging. So I can draw it here by going to this drop-down menu where it says External Wall. I can choose a floor panel. I can click on this button, Place Frame. Okay. Down in the command line, it's asking for a vertex location. You want to choose all 4 vertices of this floor panel in a clockwise motion. So I'm going to snap to this endpoint, snap to that endpoint, go to this third one here, and finally this last one here. Okay, we'll hit Enter to end that command. We'll hit Escape a few times. So now we've drawn 3 walls and a floor panel. Okay, just like previously, I had to build those wall panels. So I'm going to select this floor panel, right-click it. I'm going to go to Properties. I'm going to go to Main. Right, this is where I can choose my stud spacing, whether or not I have a noggin, whether or not I have service holes on. So let's go ahead and click on Build. Okay, this is what that floor panel looks like. I'm going to get rid of these service holes. I don't really think I need them. Kind of feel like I need more than just this one noggin, but honestly it might do. I just have one here in my Rhino file, so we'll just leave it like that. Keep it minimal. Keep the weight down. Keep the steel usage down. Let's make sure to move it so that way it's in its center. So I'm going to type in move. I'm going to move it from a base point, which is right here at the middle of this noggin. And I want to move it to the middle of the stud, which looks like it already was at. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. And that's what that looks like. So I'm going to hit close. Okay, I've got EX1, EX2, EX3, and FL1, floor 1. I'm going to go File, Export, 3D VRML. Right, I already chose where I want to put it. It remembers it from last time. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to select all, Export. I'm going to go to File, View 3D. I'm going to select my 3D file, cache wrap. And there we go. So now I have a floor system on the bottom. I've got 3 walls above. We're going to have a big 1-inch thick piece of plywood as the countertop. And then we'll have some 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch stuff for the cubby system down below. Caster wheels on the bottom. And that's about it. Okay. That was a lot. Any questions? Yes. It's set to what? So if you guys are seeing metric units, here's what you do. As soon as you guys open up Detailer, go to Edit, go to Options, go to General, and right here for units, choose Imperial with a precision of 1/32 of an inch. And then you'll see Imperial units. Okay? Any other questions? Yes. What's the question? Is that on your computer? No, there's no detailer in the corner. Okay. Everybody do this real quick. Let's do File, Export 3D VRML. Do you guys all have this option? File, Export 3D VRML. No? Yes? Colton? No? You need to be here in this plan view. Make sure you're not looking at it in elevation. File, Export 3D VRML. If you don't see this option, it might be because you don't have any built items. So Colton, if you just go to choose like external wall, place a frame, click 2 spots, click a 3rd spot, hit escape a couple times, right click, properties, build, you'll get a wall of some sort. Yeah, then you should be able to export. Try that and see if it gives you that export option. What I want you guys to do is let's run a little test and make sure you guys can view your export. So go to File, Export 3D VRML. For now, just put it on your desktop. So for output directory, choose desktop. Click OK. Select all. Export. Then File, View 3D. Go to the desktop. Find your file. And open it. I'll talk to IT. This is just another IT thing I got to figure out again. All right. So for now, you guys are not going to be able to 3D preview your stuff, which is okay. It's actually not the most important thing. We already know what it looks like in 3D. We already modeled it in Rhino, so there's really no need to check. As long as everything makes sense in plan view and in elevation, that's all we need to know. So I'll talk to IT, see if they can get that installed. And then that way we can preview these things at least, but it's really not that important. So for now, just work on doing our design. I will upload this for you all. I'm going to turn this off. Let's turn 2D on and make 2D on. For those of you who came in late, this is our current design. It's looking a little flashy with this plywood that I've chosen to render it with, but really this is going to be that blue stuff over there. And then we'll use either 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood for the sides and the cupping on the inside. And then if I navigate here to page 4, these are all of my dimensions. Okay. And this is what the final PDF looks like. CC A201 assignments. Okay, that's what the final package that I sent to Sibley looks like based off of your presentations last week and what she liked about each project. We try to incorporate a little bit of everybody's ideas into one Frankenstein project with a couple little details of my own, and this is it. That's what it looks like. So I'll share this PDF with you all for reference. You can use it to guide yourselves as you 3D model this in Detailer. I'll drop my Rhino model here as well so you can have a look at that, see what it looks like. Before I do that, the last step I want to show you is what to do with this Detailer file. What is the last step? Okay. Obviously, the last step is to get it out of the machine, right? We want the machine to give me this stuff, right? So to do that, under File, Export, and you're going to say Roll Former RFY. Can you guys check and see if you have that option? File, Export, Roll Former RFY. File, Export, Roll Former RFY. Yes, yes, yes. That's good. That's actually better than 3D previews. What that means is if you guys were to sign up for a FrameCAD class in the future and you want to make your own little project, you could do it right here on these computers. You get this RFY file, put it on a flash drive, take it to my machine, and print it out. It's that simple. So that would be the next step. The final thing I want you guys to do in this assignment is File, Print, Drawings. Select all, print. I'm going to put it on the desktop for now, but you're going to want to organize it somewhere else. And what you'll get is something like this. This is a package, right? These are the drawings. This is our plan view. It shows us what walls and floors are in this project, EX1, 2, which is a clone of EX1, and 3, and then FL1. Here's the elevation of EX1. Here's the elevation of EX2. They're twins. Here's the elevation of EX3. And then here's the elevation of FL1. Okay. Just like you would get in a piece of furniture you buy at IKEA, there's going to be drawings and it's going to tell you exactly what goes where. This is what this thing is doing. Okay. At the top of each of these pages, it's telling me exactly how much weight. This one little wall weighs 10.6 pounds, so we should be able to lift it ourselves. So does EX2. And then EX3 is going to weigh 25.3 pounds. Okay. It's a pretty lightweight little structure. It's very small relative to a building. All right. So I'll make that an assignment for this week. You guys just need to create this whole FrameCAD project and create those drawings. I'll work on the actual final file that we're going to be printing out. Hopefully we can print out on Wednesday or next week. This is week 7 already. So that means next week is our last week. So we have this class, we have Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 classes left. So I'm going to try to get this file done so that way we can start printing it out. We'll print it out on Wednesday. We'll assemble it inside here where it's nice and cool and air conditioned and not rainy and not too hot, not too sunny. We'll do it right inside here. We'll attach the caster wheels to it. We'll have to go to the maker space and cut some of that plywood down to size. So please be prepared. Bring your water. Bring closed-toed shoes. Bring steel-toed shoes if possible. That's about it. Any questions? Yes. Is this assignment due Wednesday or next Wednesday? I think you guys can get it done by Wednesday. What do you guys think? Is this doable by Wednesday? Yeah, we need to do both. That's a good point. I didn't bring it up to you latecomers, but this is going to be a two-part design. One thing she really liked from Josue's was that it had a secondary unit that split apart. So if need be, they can click together and be a big long 8-foot piece, or separately it's a 6-foot piece and a 2-foot piece. And this one's where she can do her laptop work up against the wall. It would be hooked up to an outlet somewhere, right? And we would have to run a cord across the way, or she can just put this and click it here, or she can move it around the whole entire store. So she'll have options. Yes. What? I think I accounted for about 3 1/4, looks like. 3 inches is fine. All right, I'll upload the PDF, which is this one right here, so you guys can take a look at it, see some measurements. I'll upload my Rhino file, so you guys can look at that. The way that mine is organized, if you go through and collapse each of these layers, I have my actual 1:1 scale model here under Cash Wrap 101. I mean 1:1. So you're going to have to turn that one on. Turn on the caster wheels and turn on the plywood and turn on the sign. And then you'll see the whole entire 3D model. I'm going to turn off my layout stuff, turn off the 2D stuff. Okay, that way it just leaves me with the cache wrap itself. Within the cache wrap layer, you can turn off plywood, you can turn off FrameCAD, you can turn off any part of the sign. Hey, you need something? Nice.
This is an example. I found how to change it from imperial to decimal in Revit.
Nice.
Right, do I change it to decimal or meters?
Let me get back to you after this
Or
lecture. Okay. Yeah, here,
I
take.
brought some documents to replace the repair I have too.
Oh, thanks. Take that with you. I'll come find you later. Thank you. For you guys, if you need to measure, the FrameCAD components of this, you can just turn off plywood. There it is. There's all that. You're going to use the distance command. Distance is basically a measuring tape in Rhino. You snap to specific endpoints, and that's 2 feet. From here to here, that's 5 foot 4 3/4. From here to here, that's 2 feet. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Is there a FrameCAD what? FrameCAD is not on a Porto. No. You guys can download. I can give you guys the download files if you want to download it onto your own personal PCs, but it's not going to work on a MacBook. Do you have a PC or a MacBook? PC? Yeah, I can. You can install the files, install Detailer, use the license key and the secret key and everything. That way you have it on your laptop. These license keys will expire by the end of the summer, so I'll get new ones in the fall, and then you guys can take my class again and do some more FrameCAD. So I'll upload this stuff right now. You guys can go ahead and get started on the project and ask me questions while I'm here. Let's go ahead and close this.